here we are. We have about 5 minutes before the radio portion of the show starts, and normally I would do a news read now, but we've been doing all these remotes, so I haven't been doing those. Typically, we've just been talking through the first 5 minutes, and then we'll actually start the introduction of the program for our networky radio online listeners. But you get the extra 5 minutes for free. We have somebody coming over to talk to us.
No, we do not.
So, hey there. A lot of people here. Band's coming in to get set up. All the tables are over there to check in.
I hope somebody has told the band that they're not really going to have much power.
Well, somebody must have told somebody about something. We'll find out. If we suddenly go off the air for no reason, it's because the breaker blew, and we don't have any power.
As I was saying, in fact, when he comes over, we're just going to signal him. So turn me off.
All right. He's just... Excuse me.
Out of power?
No, well, not out of power, but we're really short on power.
Well, I don't know about this guy's equipment. In fact, I don't even know who he is. Our stuff doesn't use that much.
Okay.
Well, we've already lost everything a couple of times.
Really?
On the stuff, so we probably have nothing.
Do we need to talk to him about combining, do you think?
Probably.
Have to see how it works.
Just thought it could be a heads up.
It'll happen one way or another. It'll get done.
One way or the other.
That's what conservatives and people like that do.
We problem solve.
We make it work.
We're MacGyvers.
Yeah. So it's...
and we certainly have been doing that today.
Oh, yeah.
Especially Mike with the network.
Oh, he did a great job. There's great service here. Anybody who shows up for the event, plenty of Wi-Fi.
Yes.
And so you'll be good to go.
The only thing is, if you come here, plenty of Wi-Fi, no heat.
No heat. No. Once everybody's here, it'll start to warm up. But right now, just the staff are pretty much here, getting set up, getting ready for everybody to come in. So that's not a lot of people. It's maybe 75 people, roughly. Yeah. There's food vendors outside already. Of course, the cruise campaign's having a rally, so they're here.
We'll see if we're going to have the food vendors, because the local fire department, they've pulled up. Now they have to all go through inspections. And there was a little discussion when I went out last to get another extension cord about being inspected.
Oh, well.
So we'll see.
Well, there's supposed to be food vendors here.
I'm hoping, because I didn't get breakfast.
But, these are people who are food vendors. So odds are pretty good that since this is what they do for a living, and they do it in New Hampshire, that the inspection should not be an issue.
Hopefully not.
But that's that. So there's food. I saw the French fry guy. That's the only one I saw. So,
I want a donut.
A donut.
Donut.
But I saw those French fries. I'm like, ooh, hot French fries. Yum,
all right.
yum. So, yeah, we'll call Taylor Supply. Tell them to bring a generator truck. We'll park it out back.
Yeah, really.
We have no money in the budget for that. We've spent.
If I had known, I would have brought my 10,000-watt generator.
The pathetic sum of money that we did gain was enough for us to cover the cost of this event, which was somewhere in the neighborhood of $15,000. So,
wow. That's all.
And most of that was for the checklist.
And I will tell you, when people look at these kinds of events, you have no idea how much goes into setting up and then paying for these things.
And Diane Bitter and Fran Wendelboe did almost all of this. I mean, there was a committee, and we all had discussions and talk, and people had things to do. But at the end of the day, they really did all the heavy lifting, and there's no end of thanks for them for that, because this is, this is not a small undertaking.
Correct.
So, I want to say thank you on the air. We'll say thank you again and again and again. But we're here.
Yep. Because they've got the stage, they've got the press riser, they've got what seems to be
all the permits, all the everything.
More than adequate sound system.
Something in the neighborhood of 80 staff from out of state, people who can't vote, who will work as marshals and just parking management, people who will be outside and inside managing the event, who don't vote because they're from out of state. And 80 people.
What a concept!
That's a lot of people.
On the right, what a concept! Out-of-state people who won't vote because it's not the right thing to do.
Right. Okay, we're getting close to our actual show start. Hopefully everything's going well, and we're not blowing the speakers off the internet stream here. We had that problem last week with distortion. So we're going to be right back. Stay tuned. This is GrokTALK.
3, 2, 1.
like to welcome you to
I can't
another
give you more
edition
output
of
from this side.
GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
You don't have to worry because we're back.
Oh, well, that's helpful. I'm sitting here going,
On the video stream, the audio is going to be a little different because when we're on a remote, we discovered last week, for those of you who tuned in, that depending on the output level from the DJ console on my laptop, which feeds our Spreaker stream, if we turn it up too high, we get a lot of distortion. You may be getting distortion from me right now. I really
no,
don't
actually,
know.
you sound pretty good.
Well, no, we sound good here. We sound good there, but we don't know how the sound sounds on NHCR The Rock. The Rock, NHCR.com, we don't know how that sounds, or anywhere else for that matter in the internet universe where we may be broadcasting, because it's just the nature of the
beast.
remote arrangements. Now, when we're in the studio, for some reason, we have a much different arrangement. We never have any issues. In fact, we often don't have enough sound. So
Right.
it's weird how this tiny little board in this setup produces more output online than the big board in the studio. This is a little weird.
Well,
Welcome to the show.
Well, I can try one thing right now.
Well, you have to try anything right now.
Sure.
I don't want to start screwing with stuff. Everything's working.
Oh.
Don't touch anything.
Well, if I send some phantom power through stuff.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so welcome.
Yes.
Excuse me.
We'll have a lot to talk about today. You
Welcome
and I.
to 39 degrees in Hopkinton, New Hampshire. We are inside the J.D. Durgan Pulling Arena at the Hopkinton Fairgrounds on a dirt floor behind a pile of speakers right in front of the stage. We have the projector going off to our left, all the tables for the different candidates, and everything up front set up for everybody who comes in to get checked in, make sure that they're on the voter checklist. And it's just us for the next 2 hours. The voting doesn't start till after the official GrokTALK program ends, but we will continue to broadcast, as we mentioned earlier, for those of you who were with us already, until the end.
And we will be live streaming the event.
Right, so you will get to see it as it happens.
Correct. So we've got the band is coming in. They're getting ready to set up.
And you were in San Diego for a week.
I was in San Diego.
A little warmer in San Diego.
Well, yeah, high 60s, low 70s most of the week, and then Thursday and Friday. Friday it was getting up into the 90s, and over the weekend it was supposed to be in the hundreds. They were getting a what did they call it? Basically hot weather alert.
Yeah.
All over the place. And I was thinking, yeah, when I left on early Monday morning, it was 32 degrees at my house Monday morning. And now here it was 44 when I left my house this morning. It's colder here or in this building than it was.
It was actually colder at my
Yeah.
house than it was at your house.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, I'm up a little bit higher. That's what happens. At least in the beginning of the season, it is actually warmer at a higher altitude than not.
And that's because the cold air settles in the valleys, yeah.
Correct.
But
the heater's still on.
But that...
And tonight it's going to get really chilly. I will be firing up the Grok stove at home
I would think so. Yeah.
The wood stove.
The wood stove. Yeah.
Got plenty of wood. I'm all set.
Good. Well, it's different. It's a little different from San Diego. Just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what's been going on this week. Of course, no distortion. Yay, no distortion. All right, good. We're not distorting. Excellent.
Oh, we have an observer for us?
Yeah, that's Keith, the guy who runs at The Rock.
Excellent.
He is kind enough to feed me information about how we sound through his radio station.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you, Keith. So, NHCR, The Rock.
And we are simulcast right now, and
now.
we get rebroadcast on Mondays.
Monday at 1 o'clock.
Yes, and we thank them very much for carrying us.
Yep.
So hopefully we need to get on with things and talk about stuff that people tune into instead of us just blathering. We sound like ABC Good Morning
I know.
Good Morning America, where they just talk about pretty much nothing.
He's talking about the clocks being out of sync, and they are. We're off by like a minute or something like that. So when we start a minute later, by the time the feed gets through to him, it's almost like we would need to start a minute sooner. So we'll work on that. That's just another one of those things we'll have to figure out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, big thing, as far as I could tell, was the Democrat debate. where we have now confirmed that there is no more Democrat party. It basically is the Socialist Party of America.
That's correct.
And I just sat there in wonderment. I put out a tweet storm, like I always do for these kinds of things, and I couldn't believe that every single time I turned around, they just wanted to further left each other out. They just egged each other on to go further and further to the left, except for the one sane Democrat who I would call an old-fashioned, old-style blue dog Democrat, and that was Jim Webb, who was a Marine, and we thank him for his service. He won the Navy Cross, which is one step down from the Medal of Honor, if I remember right. He had the right answer. The last question of who do you consider to be your enemy? And he rightfully said, well, the guy who threw a grenade at me in Vietnam, but he's not around to talk about it anymore. And yet there's Hillary saying the Republicans are her enemy. Now, if you take the word enemy the way that Jim Webb talked about, and then Hillary went afterwards, that really says something about the socialists and really says something about us. Now, Mr. Mike, you're going to join us?
I am. I don't think I have anything to worry about for a little while.
All righty. Well, I'm going to turn this camera around.
Tuck this extension.
He's just hiding all the cables. You see, it's a mess under here, really. I mean, you've seen the studio. It's all black spaghetti and stuff. So we're going to get Mike on a headset and dial him in.
We have wireless networking in here, which means we have about another 10 wires run to make sure that wireless networking...
We can't hear you. You got to put the headset on, Mike.
He's
Come
not
on.
ready yet.
Excuse
me.
My dress, sweeties. Yeah. What the hell's going on with it?
No, you're not going to fix it. Just put it on your head.
I can pull this and...
Just put it on your head, Mike. Mike, put it on your head first.
Mike
These
has
engineers.
Has to straighten out the wires. You're rearranging deck chairs. You realize that?
Yeah, the Titanic could sink at any moment.
That's
but at
right.
least,
Power could just stop. We'd be just done.
Yes, we do have to put out these alerts that all of the stuff that's going on here, the lights, the sound system amps, the soon-to-be playing band, oh gosh, we got to make sure we tell them not to play too loud. Our stuff, the networking stuff, we're all running on one 20-amp circuit.
Well, by the time they start their actual event, we will be done with this part of the show.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well,
so that at least.
But we're hoping to hang on to internet service.
Absolutely. We want to have everything running the entire time so that you can watch online.
Yeah.
But we have a fighting chance because the wireless switch, the access points, your little switch, and the PCs are all battery backed one way or another. The mixer board may go out, or did I put power on that as well?
I don't think so. I think that's plugged into the other thing.
Yeah, we may have to do something about the mixer board if we want audio to keep going. But you know what? We've at least got the basics will stay up, the stream will stay up, as long as we don't wipe out the UPS battery.
I can always turn on the shotgun mic on the camera.
Correct.
Hopefully that'll work. I'd have to jimmy up some more stuff with MacGyver for stuff.
Yeah, well,
So.
yeah, the entire place here was rigged by MacGyver and Macduff. My friend McGrath, who I actually call MacGyver, has more tools. He has so many tools that the Snap-on van stops by his house on a regular basis. And
You know what I forgot? Is my laptop still sitting on on the Jim Gilmore table?
there is one down there.
I need to go get that before
right.
somebody decides to.
Go get it, and Mike. I'll ask Mike what he thought about the Democrat debate since he's here.
Yeah, I didn't see the whole of it. I watched some selected snippets, and I looked at a little bit of the analysis. I thought it was pretty funny. I thought Bernie Sanders doing the angry young man telling people to get off of Hillary's lawn, I thought that was pretty funny. The angry old man there. As I heard Skip saying, they're all egging each other to get further and further left. And there was this fabulous cartoon of Jim Webb a day or two after the rally, after the debate rather, where he's saying the last time I was surrounded by this many commies was in Vietnam. It's absolutely true. I mean, every one of them. The failed mayor and governor of Baltimore, Maryland, Martin O'Malley, who took the state socialists, drove out their means of self-defense, and allowed the city to become the lawless wreck that it is now under an even redder socialist or bluer state, whatever it's Stephanie Rawlins Blake, another failed mayor.
And she's not running for re-election either.
Well,
Yeah, thanks.
Smart woman.
Yeah, very smart. The damage is done. Yeah, this she falls under either mission accomplished or my work here is done, because she's completely wrecked the city of
That's okay.
Baltimore.
She can make a lot more money in a think tank or as a consultant, because the Democrats still love her.
Oh yeah, oh absolutely. And they're
Oh
gonna,
yeah, she'll be a rising star. Heck, she could be president one day if we keep going left at this rate.
Well, and again, the only person there that seemed to have any sanity at all was Jim Webb, who used to be a Republican, went to being a Democrat, former Marine. His son is a Marine. He served as the Secretary of Navy under Ronald Reagan. Smart guy.
What the heck is he doing in the Democrat Party?
I think he's probably asking himself the same thing.
What we need is for a lot more voters to ask themselves, what the heck are they doing in the Democrat Party? I mean, this rot began a long, long time ago. It really accelerated under LBJ, but it's got the spiral continues faster and faster down and to the left. And when Ronald Reagan said the party left him, wake up, Democrats.
Well,
wake up, especially black Democrats. The party left you in the lurch a long, long time ago.
Keith just chimed in. The Democratic candidates are making Republicans like Lindsey Graham look like right-wing nuts.
and they absolutely are.
Okay, so the timing in the studio is good. We're working out the timing on a remote broadcast so we can try to sync up right, and we may do something a little different, but he's going to let me know what the timing is. Anyway, I didn't watch debate. I don't watch debates pretty much for the most part.
I do, so you don't have to.
I do read the analysis.
You sound like Rush Limbaugh when you say that.
That's exactly correct.
Don't doubt me.
I do rely on a lot of other people to do some analysis, and then I go find the video because it's out there. It's not that hard to do. I don't have to sit through it.
When we say that the further the debate went on, or the longer the debate went on, the further left they went. It's like, what else can you say? We're going to give you free of charge, and Hillary, I think, summed it up right. We are going to take it from the wealthy, and I keep thinking that this country was founded on two pillars. One is that each individual is sovereign. No longer are you subject to a king or a monarchy. And the other one that they tried to protect was the right to private property. Mm-hmm. And that private property is not just your car, your land, your house, the stuff that you have in it, but also your money, your wealth.
Yeah.
And there they are blithely up there. Basically, the mask has come off, and they basically say, we're going to take more from you. And if you go to my page, Progressives and their view of the proper role of government, there's lots of Hillaryisms, and they say, we are going to take stuff from you.
This is a post that's been going for 2.5 years at least, I think. And you can scroll down through all the history of it. So it's an ongoing thing. Every time you get a new thing to add, he takes the old post and updates it and then reposts it. So it could have this week's date. It could have tomorrow's date, depending on what happens today. You never know. And then just scroll back through and you can read them all.
And the amazing thing is that the progressive view of the role of government keeps on and on and on expanding. It is just unbelievable.
The main question everybody should ask yourself, again, this country was founded on the preposition that we were to have a limited government, because limited government, acting as a floor, would allow us the greatest amount of personal freedoms and liberty. So implicit in that is the idea of the question, what is the limiting factor? And after watching the debate on Tuesday, there is no limiting factor to Democrats anymore. There is no boundary over which they will not step.
What is it I say? How much is enough? It's never enough. When do they? I mean, it's just there is no end. They want to control everything. And so, what did I post the other day? Just kind of a real quick snippet, something that had to do with Bernie Sanders. Somebody wrote a post. Let me go find it. Sooner or later, one kind of authoritarianism leads to another. So the minute you give them the first piece, They will never stop until they have it all, and it's not in their nature or in the nature of government to do it any other way.
And
the minute you give a government power, it will never stop until it has all of it.
And they're never happy either. They're always angry.
Right. Socialism is the political persuasion of envy and greed. You know, that green-eyed monster of envy. I want what you have. You shouldn't have it because I can't have it too. And I think it was Churchill who said, socialism is basically the party of misery. It really is, because they are all miserable little cretins.
Well, and that is also the result you get from socialism, which is everybody is equally miserable.
And they make everybody else miserable.
Except the rulers, the apparatchiks. And as I have oft said, if you look at all of the people that are helping to bring about the socialist state, and they all think that they will be amongst the favored few, the apparatchiks. No. Wise up, folks. If you're voting Democrat, you are among Stalin's useful idiots.
Right. And I have to keep saying, all I heard during that debate was, we hate everything about the American system. They hate once again, I hate to say it, George Bush's words come back, we have to destroy the free market in order to save it. And Hillary said basically the same thing on Tuesday night. We have to save capitalism from itself. Well, I'm sorry. She is as much of an Alinskyite as Barack Obama. She has just hidden it better over the years than what he has. But now the mask is coming off. How dare she say that she has the knowledge, the complete knowledge, to be able to save capitalism from itself. It is not about saving capitalism. It is not allowing people to make their own decisions for their own lives and what they would buy with their own money. This is all about control. Anytime anybody says, well, you can't have that, as she has said, it's about control. There are a number of tells to progressives, which are nothing but incremental socialists. One of them is, we know better than you. And she has said that. We have to do what's best for society with the implicit, I know better than you do. Because you're a selfish person, you want to keep it all to yourself. I'm sorry, I earned it, not you. Although, you earn plenty at $225,000 an hour speaking to a bunch of college kids who will be in debt for the next 30 years because of your visit. But, how dare she say that as a one percenter saying, well, I'm going to help the middle class, where nothing in her policies or what she has done in the past has actually shown results that actually do that. It is, if she liked the middle class, she'd leave us alone. She'd get government out of the way and let us make our own decisions. And I'm rambling.
Yeah, well, but here's the really dirty secret of all this rob the rich. It doesn't work and it can't work. There aren't enough rich, even when the rich, the 1%, already pay about half of all taxes anyway.
The top 20% of all wage earners, which is about $80,000 and above, pay almost 70% of all income taxes.
Yeah, and I think it's actually higher. The thing is that the middle class and the people that aspire to get to even a modicum of wealth, those that want to be earning more than $100,000 a year, because in order to be comfortable living frugally, are being prevented from getting there. But the real dirty little secret is that the only way they're going to capture enough money on an ongoing basis to pay for all that free stuff is to take more than what they're giving you from that same middle class that they claim to be trying to help. You cannot fund the kind of largesse they're talking about without reaching all the way down into the lower middle class, people earning $50,000 and less, and taking their money.
You're absolutely right. And you know what the tell was? Is, man, he's cold.
I am cold. I can't get warm for some reason.
The tell is, it used to be that America was a real aspirational society where we always said everybody ought to be rich. Everybody has the opportunity to be rich. And a lot of people do. We have 539 billionaires living in the United States. That's a lot of rich people.
Yeah.
And everybody used to talk about, I want to be the rich. When Obama became president, did anybody else notice the change in that it was no longer to be rich? It was to merely aspire to be in the middle class. what a real transformation of American idealism, where no longer were you supposed to be rich. Yeah, we're going to have to get that fixed.
Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Is that the input from the board?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, from his board.
If we end up needing to do this with an open mic like we did last week, that's fine. We'll do it, but we can probably get this to work at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were talking about the direct feed from the microphone.
Didn't we have exactly this problem a couple of weeks ago and we had to change this cable?
Yes.
And did we
We did something different. I think we ended up doing a 1/4 inch.
Yeah, but I don't have a long 1/4 inch.
All right. Well, if it doesn't work, doesn't work. We'll just make it.
No, actually, what he changed it at his end.
Oh, okay.
But it was a different sound vendor.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's really what I'm seeing coming out of this deal, that we are moving towards socialism, because when you have government providing more and more and more, then everything becomes political, because if government is controlling everything, you must entirely live your life in the political vein, which is perfectly fine by progressives. They have that meme of the personal is political, the political is personal, which means there is no civil society.
Hey, Jeff Chichester's here.
There's
Jeff.
There is no separation between government and the individual. Government fills every nook and cranny. So,
Morning, Jeff. How you doing?
How are you?
We are on the air.
You must have just got out your car. Your hands are still warm.
Yeah, it's all frosty in here. Ice Station Zebra.
well, or they do it in a place that's got heat.
Yeah. Yeah, imagine doing this in February. It would be an indoor arena somewhere. Big indoor arena.
Yeah.
This is a big indoor arena, but it's not a heated arena, so.
Now, we'll get warmer as people move in, too.
Oh, yeah, once people get in.
We need to get another headset.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that if we don't have. Anyway.
Well, I will get another headset.
Okay. In your bag, so just pull that out of there. And anyway, so.
Oh, I can give this one to Jeff for the time being. And
if you have stuff to do, do it, and we'll be right along. We can even take a break, actually, in a minute and get everybody set up. So, GrokTALK live from the DJ Durgan Polling Arena in Hopkinton, New Hampshire, for the 603 Alliance GPS Caucus, which check-in begins at 10 a.m., which is in about a half an hour, and the voting begins at 11:30. If you are not here by 11:30, you will not get in to vote. So if you're planning on coming, make sure you are here and checked in by 11:30, because at 11:30 we're voting.
And you can find all the details on the 603alliance.org website, and you will be able to get here very easily from almost anywhere in the state in about an hour. It's off of Route 89, exit 6 at Contoocook, which I can never pronounce, but that's close.
No kidding, it is close. You may be able to get to that box.
Yeah.
We're going to try to get Jeff plugged in here.
Hang on, if I move that little coil of wire, you can shove that a little bit to your left.
Alrighty, technical fun. All right.
Now it won't be in the way of your PC lid. Okay. We are moving stuff as we go. Jeff, would you like a seat, or are you happy?
No, I'm going to stand for a while.
All right.
Oh, well, and Skip will have to swivel the camera.
Oh, you're not turned up. There you go.
Who's not turned up? Skip is.
So no break. We're just going to keep going.
Absolutely. You guys are better than the major networks, man.
Why?
The setup. Oh, my Lord.
7:30 we were here.
Those people are clueless. They show up and they don't have any audio equipment or anything like that. They're just...
We're here. We got audio. We got we can feed audio into the system. We can get audio from the system.
Excellent.
We've got high speed networking.
For the first annual Planet Grok tractor pull. Excellent.
Take a look at the pro grade wire.
I saw that
to the walls.
Jeez, that's outstanding, guys.
It is.
Good job.
Yeah.
It is Groktober. So
Groktober, yes.
And we are the MacGyvers of the blogosphere in New Hampshire.
Yeah, we can make it work. And
it's not always pretty.
If you could just see the assortment of gear here.
Oh, well, look, the fire marshal hasn't been down on this end. So he's going to come over here and go, I know you're violating something. I'm just not sure what.
Yeah.
That's why we have the curtain in front.
The fire department has been walking back and forth. So.
Yeah, he's more worried about whether the food trucks will catch fire right now.
Hey, Fran.
Hey, Fran, how you doing?
Fran Wendelbaugh.
Yes.
Hey.
Fran Wendelbaugh is
Driving force behind this entire event, made it all happen.
Yes.
Her and Diane. Diane.
Well, Diane's maybe the prime mover for the thing as a whole. Fran has done the majority of the work in pulling this arena event together, getting the place booked, organizing all the pieces that it takes to make it tick.
We need to get Jeff as our MC.
Yeah, we got all the people we need here, and it's nice to see that we got a couple of candidate rallies going on outside. Ted Cruz is here.
Yeah,
no. Ted Cruz
is here.
Oh no,
not yet.
Ted Cruz is.
Well, Rand Paul's right around the corner too.
Well, we're waiting to see if he's going to come.
Yeah. Oh, he's at a home. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. So,
yes.
Ted,
Steve, one of the things that you put up was a magnificent post. Did you just go to sleep?
No, that's just my Twitter feed snoozing.
Where it looks like the Rand Paul folks have decided to take their votes and go home, or actually never show up.
This has not been a good week for Rand Paul.
No, it hasn't. But as Steve put in his post, and I'll introduce it and let Steve talk because he really is the one who should put up the thrust of this post, where they think that it's rigged.
Yeah.
So, and yet they are the campaign year over year, the Paul campaigns, who have always been able to turn out overwhelming numbers to events like this. They overwhelm online polls to the point.
They turn up with large numbers of students with tickets purchased en masse by the campaign.
Correct.
Campaign for Liberty. And the students are from all over. They're not just from the local state. So they're challenged. They're looking for in-state registered voters, which they probably don't have quite so many of. And therefore it's not rigged in their favor, and therefore they say it's rigged.
Right. I mean, and this is a classic grassroots example. Mike's absolutely right. I mean, that's what you really shoot for.
Yeah, I mean, look at what the campaigns that are interested have done. The Trump campaign's been making calls and getting folks registered. The Cruz campaign is actually
Cruz has been phenomenal.
Is actually holding a rally here, and at our household alone, we've received 6 calls from different parts of the Cruz campaign, advertising the rally outside and the event itself, and saying good things about the 603 Alliance Caucus. That's how to drive enthusiasm, folks. The Ben Carson campaign has made over 5,000 calls and has got a table and a tent outside and is setting up the same thing. This is how you win. Through hard work, through organizing.
Right. Well, if you look at those campaigns, too, if you look at the Cruz campaign, if you look at the Carson campaign, they clearly have some New Hampshire people who've been through this grassroots effort, which is surprising because Rand Paul has Mike Biondo, who was at times the king of the grassroots. So at least that connection, and Roger Wilkins, and so that's. But once again, it's a matter of the candidate getting behind the process as well. And I think that there's been some reluctance in that regard as well. There we go.
Yes. Well, look at the other sign and read it.
Yeah.
What did it say?
Yeah, New Hampshire Republican Party.
Yes, with the 603 Alliance sign in front.
We thank them for advertising our caucus.
Yeah, they're nice little sign. Yeah,
they're not too happy with us.
The impetus for the post was that actually Tom, one of the folks who blogs with us, said something to the effect of, the Cruz campaign has a rally at your caucus. They're allowed to talk to the voters and stuff. And that began a series of conversations from people who opposed this effort. So I wrote a post called "The 603 Alliance Offered Campaigns Equality of Opportunity."
Yeah.
Which is absolutely what we did.
And we didn't just offer them equality of opportunity. We badgered them to show up, to send the candidate, or at least send video from the candidate.
And not just today. All summer long, we have been reaching out to campaigns to say, would you like us to sponsor an event? Would you like us to get you in front of voters? Would you like us to help you with a house party? Would you like us to, would you like to sit down and talk to us about policy so we can feel comfortable having you involved with these events that we'd like to do? And we reached out, and only a few people ever really got back to us, and we heard from the Cruz campaign a lot.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the point. There is no incestuous business relationship here. We have scrupulously gone after all of the candidates. It may be true that the Conservative Business League, which is part of the overall package of the 603 Alliance, did do an event paid for by the Cruz campaign early on before they had their own state efforts organized.
Andrew Hemingway.
We have offered the same opportunity to many of the other candidates, particularly the conservative ones.
Good day, sir.
But they didn't take us up on it. However, the various members of the 603 Alliance have helped to,
Good to see you.
not to sponsor, but to have helped to introduce candidates to
Right.
voters across the state at all manner of house parties and other events. We're always all engaged, and we want all the candidates to meet as many voters as possible. We'll have them all.
Absolutely.
through.
And you know what I call this? And so I call this the Bachman factor. As a former part of the Bachman team, I can see very early the over-manipulation, the over-control, the lack of confidence that they have in a candidate from the national level. And I really started to see that, unfortunately, too early for some of these candidates. I really thought Rand Paul would not be that way, and it's been just the opposite. He's been, once again, overly controlled and very, Ted Cruz, you tell him that there's 50 people at a hot dog stand, he goes there.
Yeah.
And Carly was doing that for a while. I've noticed a back off of her campaign, and I think that, that's something that, we're not just in a fight here in New Hampshire for keeping the primary and stuff like that, but the nation is in a fight to who should control the candidates. And you forget about money in politics. You've got to worry about these political operatives who make a good chunk of change doing their job, and they don't want their candidates set free. And next time, I'm going to get bumper stickers, free-range candidates. I want candidates who say, "Look, hop in a car, let's go."
Well, I think what you're saying is that the candidates.
Pardon the background noise.
Yes. It's band check time and soundboard check time around us. We're right behind the speakers here. You're right in that we do see that political class, especially coming out of Washington. And I think you're right that Rand Paul is now getting Scott Walkered, which is when you look at him, I think he got operative to death. And there's been lots of ink spilled and electrons displayed talking about the political operatives who got pushed into the front and pushed out a lot of the people from Wisconsin that has helped him over the last few years. And they basically said, you've got to run a general election now. And he ran himself out of money and came out with a very, let's put it this way, he didn't help himself by trying to masquerade a little bit as John Kerry with the flip-flopping over immigration.
Oh, absolutely.
He was on both sides, or in some cases 3 sides of every issue.
He was, and sometimes it was really hard. And then, I knew it was getting close to the end for that campaign when his media team was hounding me every day.
To what?
To come on the show.
Because they weren't getting any love from the
the
major
thing is
networks.
that, and typically, and me, I'm not the quickest on responding to my emails and my phone calls. So by the end of the day, when I've got 3 messages from one campaign saying, we'd really like to get on your show, I got, look, popular show, and you guys do a popular job as well, but 3 calls in one day?
Yeah.
There's a problem there.
But you know what? Don't see no Walker on our campaign, on our program. They never bit.
No.
Yeah, we offered to put him on, and they didn't reach out to us.
We've made it quite clear that we'll talk to anybody. And we've talked to a lot of the lower-ranked folks have come on, especially...
We've talked to Gilmore, we talked to Pataki.
We talked to Carly Fiorina twice, I think.
Twice. We've talked to Ted Cruz 3 or 4 times. But you look at the more establishment folks, not happening.
They think they don't need us because the establishment is at war with the party's base. And, of course, we effectively represent the base. We are their channel to the base, and they don't care.
Yeah. Let me run this past you.
Sure.
And I've been saying this for quite some time, that a lot of these candidates have to win a large percentage of the folks. All we have to do is steer 0.5% to 1.5 away.
Right.
And again, I love this factoid that look what happened this past November with the top of the ticket on the Republican Party. We were successful.
Right.
And we thought they were failed candidates, and we persuaded enough people to say, you are failed. And they did fail. Well, and yet we're the bad guys.
I just wanted to say they're playing pretty good considering how cold it is in here. My fingers would be numb and bleeding.
Yeah, but they haven't been here as long as we have.
Yeah, they're still plucking strings and.
Those are amps behind you.
Yeah,
they keep you warm.
I did want to add that, and I pointed this out in the post that I wrote, talking about candidates and participation, that from the very early on meetings of this committee, all the way up until Trump surged, everybody on the 603 Alliance Committee felt certain that Rand Paul would win this event because of the nature of his support.
Yes.
Correct.
And there was never any doubt in our mind that that was likely. And we never stopped organizing the event. It wasn't about whether or not somebody could organize. It was about because somebody could organize.
We don't care if Rand Paul wins, although he seems to be trying to boycott it. We don't care if Ted Cruz wins, although he's a good constitutionalist. We don't care if Trump wins, even though some of us are equivocal. But the man is running a good campaign.
Put your mics closer to your mouths, folks. They're ramping up their amps.
We're going to distort a little bit.
So let's.
We apologize for
we don't care who wins. We would like it to be a conservative. We think it will be a conservative based on the activists that are coming out, and that's the whole point. The whole point of this effort has been to drive grassroots activists to this event and therefore select the candidate that best represents the most of those grassroots activists.
But so here's my Sunday morning advice on Saturday. To those campaigns that chose not to participate in this or have taken a very light touch on this, tomorrow when you send your communication people out there dismissing this event, understand that what you're doing is dismissing a whole group of very active New Hampshire voters. These are the voters that show up. And so before you let your communications people send that press release out and you kind of shrug your shoulders and hum your hands up, remember that someone like Granite Grok is here, we're here. There's a lot of hardcore good people, and each one of these people here today probably represent at least 30 good votes.
And that's really the point.
That's the point.
These are the activists.
So be careful about your press release tomorrow.
These are the activists that will take to heart the words of John H. Sununu, whether we like him and his politics or not. Talk to your friends and neighbors to get the word out.
And they will drag them.
And if you slag off those voters and tell them you don't like what they're doing, they will spread the word about your campaign's tactics, and it won't work well for you.
Let me give you the object lesson.
Yeah.
We had Walt Havenstein, who ran for governor.
Yeah.
He made the infamous teabagger comment, which Mike caught. And
I wasn't the one that caught it. Somebody else put the first post, but I found the original lecture where it was all in context, and it was clear that he was smirking at the kind of people that gave the Republicans their 2010 victory.
Right. And the thing is that he never refused. He knew it was a sexual innuendo started by the left. He used it, and he smirked about it. And when he got caught, he never, ever refused to apologize. A normal, rational person would have said, oh, my gosh, I'm sorry, especially if you're running to get people to vote for you.
All he had to
look what happened. Hold on. What you said... whatever your name is.
Jeff,
thank you.
He's got him right there on his chest.
Yes, Jeff. Yeah.
His name is MC Jeff Chittister.
Yes.
Yo.
One.
East Coast represented.
He dissed the most active folks in New Hampshire. And we just happened to make sure that everybody knew that he had done this. And all he had to do was one simple thing. I'm sorry. But he blew off a large percentage of the voters. The candidates who don't come here today are basically saying the same thing. More politely, or what's worse, ignoring people.
And
the worst thing you can do is ignore people.
Let's be clear. We will be making it known.
Yeah, and we don't expect every candidate to show up in person. We realize we're not the only event going on today.
I understand what you're saying.
What we expect, though, is that they all send representatives, that they all make phone calls and rally their supporters, and that they try and move the needle in their favor. That's all.
And you're even set up to do a video for everybody that comes. Live stream.
Yeah, swing the camera or move the.
Move that one.
Yeah, okay. We have...
careful, though. Headset off.
Okay.
He's on 3. There we go. What did I write? Let's see. Oh, yeah, we invited the campaigns and told them to bring supporters. We offered to let them speak to the voters. We offered to play a pre-recorded message from them to the assembled voters.
And right there on that screen where you can see where you can see those larger-in-life cartoons, your message could be coming to the caucus goers if you had sent it to us. It's still not too late. Mike at mrogers.org, Skip at granitegrok.com.
No, not mine. I don't have my email.
You don't have yours with you,
Send
okay.
it to Mike.
Send it to Mike. Mike at mrogers.org. Send me a link to a YouTube. Send me a short video. It can be done today if you send it, and I will check my mail as the.
And if you'd rather send us money, go to GraniteGrok.com.
as the event proceeds. The 603
two events
Alliance
don't coincide.
The 603 Alliance has made this.
Take some of the distortion out.
Yeah, sorry.
Bring the mic back a little.
The 603 Alliance has made this invitation over and over. You want to move the needle? Send word to your caucus goers, and we will deliver it. We're all set up to do it.
Sign-in starts at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's not and finishes at 11:30.
And Trevor Loudon is
sharp.
here.
Yeah.
Nice.
We got great speakers. We got food trucks outside. We
I
got
can smell the
lights,
food trucks.
cameras, action, music. Right. Let me put this.
Donuts?
But we don't have his heat.
It'll warm up.
It will.
But that's a good point that Mike's making too. But the other thing is too is that surrogates and everything like that are really great. But the reality is that. But the reality is that you're a Saturday morning here in New Hampshire with a bunch of people who are going to vote in the New Hampshire primaries and a Republican primary most likely. Yeah. But and you're not here, but you're in the state. I got to question you how foolish you really are. I don't care what you think the outcome is going to be. You need to be here.
I will say this, even though I disagree with his stances in a lot of places. I don't believe that illegal immigration is an act of love. But if Jeb Bush wanted to be able to talk to hundreds of people all at the same time, he ought to be here.
And you know what?
Right.
I actually met with some of his campaign representatives at one of the local town events that the 603 Alliance went out to, and I made it very, very clear to them that whilst Jeb Bush may not be the conservative favorite, we would very much like for them to send representation to this event. Who knows? If he can convince enough people that his conservative record from Florida is A-OK, he may win. And we want him to have that opportunity.
And that's really what it comes down to.
Well, and here's the thing, too, is that, and this is an adage that, certainly every politician should learn. If you're not in the room, you're on the menu. So if you're not there, they're going to talk about you. They're going to say things about you. They're going to represent positions. And, you've got to be the braver person. You've basically got to say, look, there's a bunch of people here who are going to vote in this primary. They need to hear my message. And like I said, I think it's probably why I don't run for political office is because you'd have a bunch of people holding me back by the collar going, why the hell are you going to that event? And because there are people there who vote.
Yeah, Jeff, how long have you known us?
Well, how long have we been going on? Since 2009,
2006.
It seems much longer, isn't it?
Yeah, Skip founded this a good few years ago, and I started pitching in around, 2010 or 11?
Yeah.
So Steve was on a little bit early, but for the time that you have known us, if people don't show up, do we just not talk about them?
No.
That's the rule.
It was like ISIS at the Democratic debate the other night. What? Huh? I don't know about that. The Middle East was all fine according to that debate.
Yeah.
But eventually, But like I said, you got to be in the room. You got to be here. And the thing is, this is such a positive event. And then the people attached to this event are not only just strong grassroots people, but they've also done very well within the party as far as being a voice, especially on that conservative element. And they've achieved really high positions within this party as well. So they've been good positive forces within the party at times when the party has lost its way. And
who says it has found its way?
I'm not.
I'm going there, and I've been a state committee member, an
Sure.
official voted-in member, and I'll say it. I think that the Republican Party has lost its way. Why do you think you're seeing such chaos down in D.C. and why you see the chaos in Concord? Because you have people in the Republican Party that don't who don't know what Republicanism is.
And that's my article tomorrow. My article tomorrow is do your job. And the thing is, if you don't have faith and understanding and you don't have the confidence of knowing what you're supposed to do and what you represent, get the hell out of the way and let somebody else in there who does.
The problem is they are convinced that they know what Republicanism is. It's like when former Governor Sununu says, well, every Republican is conservative. We know that's a lie.
Yeah, we do know that's a lie, and we saw it play out this week or this past year alone.
Yeah.
And when, back in the spring when one of our high-ranking individuals within our party came out in favor of Planned Parenthood, man, does he look the fool now? I mean, that's the reality of it. There's a reason why most of us are consistent on these issues, because we knew the truth from the beginning.
And that would have been NHGOP committee man Steve Dupree.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, how's he feeling now? Does he have any shame? Can we attach any stigma to the fact that the money he gave to Planned Parenthood's Action Fund is now actively targeting Kelly Ayotte?
Exactly. And
Whom he likes.
Well, supposedly, but what do you say about a guy who says, I like this politician, and then gives money to their enemies to get her out?
Right, but once again, he and many other people in the Republican Party fall duped to these causes or these groups that they believe represent a majority or at least an equality within the population, and they're so wrong. And it's just like all these people who go by the polls. They're like, the polls say this, the polls say that. Read the damn question. Ask the question. Yes, nobody in America wants to pick someone up out of their house, drag them across the border, and throw them back into Mexico, Canada, or wherever they came from. That's not the question, though. The question is that do you believe in the rule of law? Ask people that. Just ask that general question on the street. Don't frame it to anything other than, do you believe that people should follow the law? Yes, I do.
Right.
When you're in a foreign country, do you believe you should follow that law? Yes, I do. So now let me ask you about illegal immigration.
Yeah.
Because that's not what they do.
Well, the other thing is, going back to Steve Dupree.
Yeah. Can we?
Yes.
I'd love to go back to Steve Dupree.
There's a case of consistency. If you are consistent to Republican principles, and as a high-ranking member of the NHGOP, one should be consistent.
You guys are receiving after that?
No, it's a horrible sound. We'll have to. We're live. We're live streaming right now. We'll have to get that straight.
Working on tech.
Yeah.
It's tech talk.
If you're going to be consistent, if you're going to run for after asking for that high level position, you need to represent the party's principles.
Correct.
And here's a case where they didn't. We also see the same thing with him and Julia Bergeron, the NHGOP committee woman.
Juliana, yeah.
Who supports gay marriage and did an amicus brief.
Which is contrary to the NHGOP principles. It's like, if you're going to behave that way, if you're going to be the Speaker of the House as a Republican, but voted in because because all the Democrats voted for you and not a majority of your party, there's something wrong there. And when people look at the Republican Party, and they look at this, they got to go, who the heck are you? Now, we just point this out. We quote their own words, we quote their own actions, and yet we're the bad guys for pointing this stuff out.
And let me reiterate one more time. Donald Trump's master step when he gave in and signed the Pledge of Allegiance to the Republican Party. When, the pledge, by the way, which the Republicans won't keep, because days afterwards there was this angry mail from the Pataki campaign.
We have to unplug him.
With a picture of...
We're going to unplug Jeff for a second.
Yeah.
While we do a test.
Yeah, with a picture of Pataki with an angry face saying, if Trump wins, I won't support him. And yet... Trump was willing to...
2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check, 1, 2.
Nice.
Clean?
Yep, we're good.
Okay, so you're all set.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
We now have soundboard audio, so we can give Jeff his voice back. So it's clear that the Republicans don't take this pledge that they asked Donald Trump for seriously. But this is where he
they don't.
This is where he trumped the party when he got them to come to him as supplicants to get his signature and a giant press conference. But it was more than that. It was what he said. I pledge allegiance to the Republican Party and to the conservative principles for which it stands. Really?
Yeah.
They don't stand for their conservative principles. He rubbed that in, and I think that was a masterstroke.
Right, and the reason why, and especially when you did the conservative principles, because what they're doing is they're comparing themselves to the Democrat, and they're not putting themselves in a mirror, and that would certainly change the tone, and we certainly know how that is. And as we've said, you look at people like Steve Dupree, probably the more one of the more spotlighted individuals in the Republican Party here in New Hampshire,
And we continue to do so.
well, and the thing, but to bring up that point too, is that let's remember the same people who voted for pretty much about the same people who voted for the platform eventually are almost the same people who end up voting for him as committee chairperson, and it baffles me that they can vote for this platform and then put this person. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult should he choose to run again. I think it's going to be a little bit more difficult for him to stand up on that stage and say, I represent your voice and everything like that, considering how public his he didn't just walk away from the platform. He trampled on the platform. He trampled on the voices of a committee selected to represent the Republican Party in its best interest.
If I had the money to be able to do all the traveling required for that position, I'd run again.
Yeah, well, I remember when you did that, and I think
that was fun.
I think that's one of the obstacles. I think that is certainly that's a consideration that someone has to put in. But there's some very good conservatives who will.
Yes, we are.
There's some very conservatives who don't have that limitations that maybe should be stepping up, and we need to see more of those people step up.
But remember this: I never announced to anybody.
No.
I didn't send out any single campaign letter. Basically most of my closest friends in the Republican Party had no clue what I was about to do, other than I showed up in a suit.
I knew something was up because you were wearing a suit.
Yeah, that was it. I went up.
It's like when you're in a high-tech company and you go to work one day in a suit. Everybody knows you got an interview that afternoon somewhere else.
Yeah. So it's funny you say that, because when I wear a suit to my office, they know that I've got a political event later on in that afternoon. So they feel pretty confident.
So basically, I came out of the stands, and I got more than a third of the votes. And most people just went, "Who's that up there?"
Yeah.
And they didn't even. I was told over and over again, if I had made a little bit of noise up front,
You probably
I
would
probably
have
would
done
have
really
won.
well.
I probably would have won.
Well, I think you will see different candidates up this time. I think you'll see different candidates for a lot of the positions. I think that how passive some elements have been over the past few years, I think that dormant tiger is ready to really wake up again. You can only fight for so long, and then you got to take a break, and then you come back and fight a little bit harder when you rethink about the strategies that you want to do. And everybody at this table has been through not only the more public battles, but the more private battles in which we respected when we came out of those rooms. We respected the confidence that we were asked to respect. But I don't think we can do that much longer.
And not only that, they don't respect those confidences.
No, they never do. It's amazing. You're sitting there 2 days later, you've been told that something isn't going to make it into the press, and it makes it into the press. Yeah. So,
well, I think Donald Trump has been the firecrack that has lit the larger explosive, because you're seeing the anger. And we've blogged about this, we've talked about this over and over again. The utter anger towards those folks in D.C. that they said, well, give us the majority in the House and we'll get stuff done. So we gave them that and nothing happened. Give us the majority in the Senate, and we did that, and nothing has happened. And now they say, well, we can't do anything unless we have the presidency. Well, the problem is you may not be able to.
Last time you had that, oh my goodness, how much did you spend?
But here's the deal.
Coming up on a hard break.
I think people are upset because you haven't even tried to fight.
No.
You've been passive. You've given up. You've caved in.
No,
and you've got nothing done. And we've seen that in D.C. as well as in Concord. And a lot of people are going, why should I bother? And I think the Republicans are either in for a huge surprise because the Tea Party's going to come roaring back.
All right, we got to go. We got a hard break. All right, thanks, Jeff.
Right.
We will take our hard break, and we will be back in about 5 minutes. So hang in there. Stay tuned. This is GrokTALK.
Good. I'm going to go get some coffee. I got to review this.
I don't even hear it. Yeah. My audio. Did you unplug me?
Letter writing, radio, microphone stomping, conservative, bloggers, and activists. GrokTALK comes to you live Saturday mornings from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you missed us on Saturday, catch us on Monday from 1 to 3 p.m. right here on The Rock, NHCR.com.
GrokTALK. This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Hi, this is Rich Gerard, host of Gerard at Large in the Morning, the Manchester area's only locally owned, locally operated, focused, and interested, riveting radio show, heard live every Monday through Friday from 6 to 9 on 90.7 FM WLMW, New Hampshire Family Radio, and available 24/7 live or archived at GerardAtLarge.com. Be sure to tune in.
GrokTALK comes to you live almost every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. You can also listen live at Spreaker.com. If you missed a live show, catch up with the podcast at GraniteGrok.com, Spreaker.com, on Stitcher Radio, at iTunes, TuneIn, or iHeartRadio, and now on The Rock, New Hampshire's Christian radio station, TheRockNHCR.com. GrokTALK is a mobile-ready broadcast, so you can listen anywhere, anytime on your PC, laptop, tablet, or smartphone.
GrokTALK.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the speakers and not necessarily those of CNHT, GraniteGrok.com, this station, or anyone else for that matter.
GrokTALK.
This is a coalition of New Hampshire taxpayers. We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now at the top of our list is voter fraud. You have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.
Three, 2, 1.
to another edition of GrokTALK, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GrokTALK.com. We are your feared extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GrokTALK.com.
GrokTALk.
It's really low, yeah.
Okay.
It's because of the music, which I will deal with in a second. But turn that down, because it is really hard to hear in here. And we have to kind of keep the... we have a distortion issue when we're streaming.
All right.
So sometimes we have to play around with these little knobs till we get the volume right. And I'll try this and see. Is that any better?
Yeah, a lot better.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to make sure we don't spike the meters.
Okay.
All right. Good morning. We have Jane Cormier here.
Yes, hello.
Head of New Hampshire Right to Life.
Yeah.
And you are here at the 41 degrees. It's up from 39 degrees.
It's not that cold.
I've been here for a couple hours. I'm cold.
Well, you started when it was probably the coldest. You haven't warmed up yet.
It was very cold. We got all set up, and of course, every now and then I have to type on the keyboard. And so it's good. Well, you're here?
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it's exciting. My goodness, here. First time event, right? First time to have this kind of event in New Hampshire.
Correct.
I'm here just to see how it goes because I've never participated in a caucus before.
Neither have I.
So this is cool. I love this.
Oh, it is neat. And people are starting to show up. 10 o'clock was the beginning of signing, so that's just started. So for the next 90 minutes, people will be filing in. And
yeah, and there's a good line out there, too.
Is there? I have to go get mine. Whatever it is I get so I can vote.
Yeah.
I'll do that in a little bit. But, so what's going on with New Hampshire Right to Life? Give us an update.
Oh, we have all kinds of good stuff. We will hear shortly whether or not the Supreme Court will be taking the New Hampshire Right to Life case against the United States HHS with regard to a grant they gave to the state of New Hampshire in 2011. And there are documents that we would like to see under the Freedom of Information Act. And the Supreme Court very well could be hearing this case. We'll find out on Monday.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
I had the wrong mic turned up. That's why you couldn't hear me.
Oh, that's okay. I could hear you. It wasn't too bad.
All right, good deal. And we're still in 40 days for life?
We are, absolutely. I think we're halfway through.
We started around the 21st, 22nd. Was that about right?
I think you're correct.
Last month, yeah.
That's right.
I'm trying to remember. I know we had you on and we talked about it, and we had Darlene in and we talked to her about it. And I see it on Facebook, but then I forget what day it started and how long.
Yeah, me too. But they do great stuff. They've been pretty active. I think that definitely have grown from last year to this year.
Good.
So that's a good thing.
All right, awesome. And so Supreme Court case, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
What else you got planned?
What else we got planned? Right now we have, we're going to be thinking about our initiatives in 216, which will include personhood. That's going to be what we're going to concentrate on and educate.
For the legislative session.
Through the legislative session, yes, absolutely. And we have a lot of colleges. We have 3 colleges, I believe, in New Hampshire, where we're going to be bringing a personhood presentation. We have wonderful panels that sort of narrate the issues with regard to...
we talked to Darlene about that, yeah. She explained it all to us.
So we had that at our banquet. Our banquet was fabulous. We had 350 people at that banquet. And what a great night. We had Josh Edmonds from Georgia Right to Life, who was the speaker. And that was the first time that we unveiled the presentation for Pillars of Personhood. So that's going to be the centerpiece of 216. We have to start educating people that life is not just about the one end of the spectrum, meaning abortion. It's throughout. It's through people that might be disabled. It's euthanasia, end-of-life issues, stem cell research issues, which are just beyond the pale. Just beyond the pale. If people start to understand what they're doing with, embryonic stem cell research, they'd shut it down because it's been proven that it's not effective, that it doesn't do any more than the adult stem cells.
I've written a lot of posts about it going back to my earliest days as a blogger.
Yeah.
So we got music now.
Yes, we do.
So as people come in, we get a band. So you'll get to hear us and the band.
Yes.
And, there might be some distortion. We might have to worry about a little tweaky here and there, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. We'll get through it. It's cold. We can live through it.
That's right. And this is a good conservative band behind us, so that's all right too.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Phil and Chris Whitman from Alton.
Oh, yeah?
And they are just great supporters of constitutional small government.
Oh, good. I kind of figured we wouldn't have like a liberal band.
Yeah, you're right. But they're local. They're right in with Belknap County with everything that's going on. They're great.
Okay, good. Well, all right, this is our big event for the day, and again, people are starting to come in.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the line because I got to go check in, like I said, but I got to wait for Skip to come back before I can get up and go out there.
Yeah.
Did you check out the Democrat debate at all?
No.
Me neither.
I don't need to.
I said I read a little analysis.
Yes.
If there's video out there if you really want it.
Yes.
I'm trying to think of what else happened this week. We've been busy. Everybody's busy. You know that everybody's busy in New Hampshire, ladies and gentlemen?
Well, it's the fall season. If you have families, kids are back in school. Their activities are now starting again. It's a whole different cycle.
And there's like all kinds of pumpkin festivals and all sorts of things. Towns have their seasonal events. Lots of things to do down here. Of course, the leaf peeping season is starting to wind down.
Right.
But it started a little late, and it's been going pretty good, I guess. I didn't get a chance to go up there because, I have plenty of trees in my own yard to look at. I don't have to go anywhere else. But driving up here this morning as the sun was rising, I could start to see some of the colors in the mountains and stuff. It's really nice.
Absolutely beautiful.
If you're not coming up for the caucus, come up for the leaves.
Yeah.
And we're happy to have you up here.
It's been a lot of years since it's been this colorful. It's quite beautiful.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
That doesn't have anything to do with politics.
No, it doesn't. But you know what? We can't just do politics all the time, right?
No, we did. We talked about Skip being out in San Diego.
Yeah.
And he said that it started out in the 60s, but it was getting up to 100 when he left.
No.
So.
100?
Yeah, like a little different than, say, here.
Yeah. Just a bit.
It was warm here. It was 70. It's October. So, I told people, and it's interesting to talk about temperature because everybody was like, it was a really hot summer, and it really wasn't.
Yeah.
And the reason it wasn't a hot summer, and I can give you two perfect examples. First of all, it was never hot at night.
Right, mostly.
Every night it was cool.
Yeah, pretty much.
The other thing I can tell you is that I have an above-ground pool.
Yeah.
And no matter how hot it is during the day, if it's not warm at night, that pool's going to cool down and you can't swim in it.
Is that right?
That is absolutely correct.
Holy
because
moly.
it won't hold the heat if it's too cold at night.
Oh, my goodness.
We had a lot of nights in the 50s and low 60s all summer long.
All right, so you probably have a more scientific method than many.
I do. My above-ground pool can tell me if we've had a hot summer or not by how much I can swim in it.
Oh, my goodness.
And it wasn't as warm this year as last year.
Okay.
I mean, I know a lot of people are saying that, in New England was hotter. I mean, we did have some, most of the rest of the nation was cool, but the Northeast was above average.
Right.
But when you look at we had a week of hot temperatures and then it would be cool, but the nights were not that hot.
And it was a short stint where we were really hot.
Right. And so it didn't really get as warm as I would have liked. I want to be in that pool every day, because I'm paying to keep it clean
right,
and
exactly.
all that. So I prefer a little bit warmer weather and a slightly longer growing season. I got to bring my...
There are two vehicles parked in the handicapped area that are sticking out into the fire lane. We need you to move them. One is a white Honda SUV with Ben
I got to make sure it's not me.
Yeah.
The other one is a dark Subaru.
That's not me. Okay, I'm good. I was the first person here.
You were?
Well, the cruise people were out putting signs. There was 3 cruise people here, but I was the first person here at the building. I got here at about 20 after 7-ish. What time did I get here? I said I was going to be here at 7. It was right before 7.
Yeah. Holy moly.
So Mike showed up a couple minutes later, and then Skip, and then we started hauling equipment in.
Yeah. It's a big deal. And people don't understand when you're hearing the product of what it is you guys produce, everything that goes into it.
A lot of stuff to lug around. There's probably an easier way to do it, but not to have this many people involved in the conversation or to be able to stream the video and the audio the way we do. So, Skip bought a lot of this equipment. We've added to it recently with some donations, so we're able to do what we do. And people will be able to watch the caucus. We're not sure how we'll be on audio. We think you'll have good audio the whole time, but you'll be able to see what's going on.
Good.
On GrokTALK.com. So if you're not interested in being here, we encourage you to use your tablet or your mobile device or your smartphone or your computer and check in every now and then and see how it's going. Voting starts at 11:30.
Yep.
We have a band. There's food vendors. There's a lot of things going on. Trevor Loudon's here. He's got Brooks. He's going to be speaking.
Oh, he's wonderful.
We have Jeff Chittister emceeing the event. We have a lot of people here. A couple candidates, maybe. I know Ted Cruz is supposed to be here.
Yep.
We asked all the campaigns to send somebody or a message, and I don't know if they will, but they still have time to get here.
I mean, what a missed opportunity.
I was going to say, even if you don't believe in the process of the caucus, while everybody who comes and votes is expected in one form or another to support the winner, there's no guarantee that they'll do that, right? So you have an opportunity to speak to a couple hundred people who are grassroots activists who got up on a Saturday morning in October in the cold and came out here to have their voice heard. And it seems to me that it would be nice if they took advantage of that.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot of sour grapes. If any campaign, cries that this wasn't what it should have been, well, why didn't they participate to make it what it should have been?
Oh, I know. Somebody was asking me, how come there's only going to be 500 people there? I said, because a lot of people that we expected are boycotting. If you were going to bring 500 people to an event and you don't show up, well, 500 less people won't.
Right. I mean, how silly.
So
yeah. Well, you know what? There's one particular faction that I find is very. They're good at putting out numbers within their campaign when it's for their event, and when it's not specifically their event, they sour grapes everywhere.
Well, that's the group we're talking about, and I've tried to engage them to get them to participate, and they just keep coming up with reasons not to do it.
Exactly.
And that's fine. I understand if you don't want to take the risk of bringing your supporters out here and having them have to pledge allegiance to some other campaign, fine, just say that. Don't make up excuses like it's fixed. Don't say, you don't think that anybody of value will go. Whatever you're going to say, it doesn't matter. And we want to make sure everybody understands that every candidate had an opportunity.
And isn't that what it's supposed to be when you campaign? It's no sure deal except death.
We didn't, we wanted everybody to come out here and talk and meet people and shake hands and do what they do. You don't come, that's your problem. These people are going to vote. They are going to talk to other voters. And
absolutely.
So, if you're not interested in that.
The irony of that is it's, I think, very much underappreciated how important word of mouth is. In New Hampshire, it's huge.
It is, because a lot of people who vote in primaries don't go to events.
No kidding.
They rely on people that, people ask me. I have people who ask my wife all the time, who's your husband going to vote for?
Yeah.
Who's your husband going to vote for?
Who do you support? I hear
Because
it all
they know
the time.
I'm politically active.
Yeah.
They know I'm plugged in, and these are Republicans, and they want to know what I think.
So they're asking.
So they ask my wife.
Yeah.
Well, who's he going to vote for? And she doesn't always necessarily know. I haven't really said. Because, as part of the 603 Alliance, I wasn't going to endorse till after this event.
Right.
After this event, I'm going to support whoever it is we support. That was the deal.
Yep.
And, so I didn't... I still haven't told her. So she says, no, she's going to look for me and go...
Yeah.
I said, do some research. You've heard me talk,
Oh, I'm not nearly as nice. I come right out and say Cruz.
You've been on board his campaign since the beginning.
Yes.
And you haven't been shy about that.
No,
So,
very beginning. From way back.
I remember
when I was in the State House.
Back before CPAC.
Yeah.
I remember.
That was like, I met him at an event when I was still in the State House. My goodness, I think it must have been 2014, early 2014. And I knew from that moment that was the guy I was going to support.
Yeah.
And, so it's been an easy choice. And anybody that sits there and tells us that, that he's this or he's that, I tell them one thing. Go back and vet the votes. Go see what he voted for. Because if you want a measure of substance, here's a guy that didn't say one thing and vote another. He's been pretty pristine with regard to his votes. So check the voting record. That should sell it right there.
And he didn't back up Mitch McConnell.
No, imagine that, huh? Again and again. And the establishment truly does hate him for that. They detest what he stands for. They see him as somebody that's going to come in and change their power structure, and they will do anything they can to defeat him. Make no mistake.
I do believe that. And I think there's a couple of candidates here who fit that mold. It's pretty good. There's a lot of opportunities for people. I know some of these candidates aren't going to do very well, but you never know. Rubio, Paul,
Yep.
Jindal, Cruz, Trump. I mean, and Trump is just getting people involved. I mean, he's really driving. We will get a lot of people who come to this event because he got them to stand up and go, oh, now politics is interesting. He's talking to me. I'm going to go get involved.
He's talking at them. He's not talking to them.
He is, but they're hearing something, and it's getting them to stand up and move around.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, the populist message is something, oh, poor us, government sucks and we need to do something. Unfortunately, his record. The one thing I can't even talk about Trump because, and truly, people in New Hampshire where we're talking states' rights, they should not be supporting him on one issue. He wholeheartedly supports eminent domain. Come on now, wake up. How conservative is that? That's wrong. So to me, don't tout conservative. I guess they don't so much with Trump that he's going to change how it works. Volticki, he's not.
He's not going to change eminent domain.
He's not, because he made too much money off of it. And he promotes what he makes money off of. It's all about him. We have a narcissist in the office right now that has killed our country. Truly, I. Count the I's in his speeches. Listen to Trump. It's the same I, just on a different supposed side of the fence. Drives me crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting having this many candidates involved.
Yeah.
And it is good in a way because they do attract enough interest in enough places to get people to come out and at least meet them. Mm-hmm. And then maybe they meet other candidates, and maybe they go to other events, and they get involved in the process.
You do.
And that's really, I mean, you can say, well, we don't want some people involved in the process because they're idiots. Mm. Well, that's part of the process.
Yeah,
part of the process is that you have
I'm not
idiots.
saying that Trump shouldn't run, because it is open for anyone, any citizen to run. But my point is that we have true conservatives that have hopped on that ship under the misnomer that somehow he's going to shake it all up and bring it back. That's totally against what they fought for all these past years. Because conservatism is very simple. It's not the strengthening of government. It's the opposite. So
it's the strengthening of local government, local control, and people really, they get swept up in the cult of personality, which is really what happens with lots of politicians. In particular, obviously Obama, a huge example of a cult of personality, really seizing a wide range of people who weren't really paying a lot of attention, who just wanted to vote for this new candidate, somebody they hadn't seen before, without really paying any attention to his past, or listening to those of us on the right who were saying, "No, be careful. This is and of course we were attacked for that, but we haven't stopped. We're still telling you the same thing about him that we told you before, and now you have 6.5 years of evidence, despite the media trying to hide it all, that we were right."
Absolutely.
Okay, we were right.
You know what? The right thing isn't as important as the factual end of it. That you have 6.5 years of evidence. That's the thing that kills me, when we have evidence available to us, and yet we still make a choice that's opposite of what we need. And how many millions do it in the presidential? Think about that. Look at these people supporting Bernie.
I know.
What are they thinking?
The left loves him.
Well, what are they thinking?
I don't know. Hey, can somebody find Skip? Somebody find Skip. Okay. All right, fine. I'll just keep talking to Jane. Okay, thank you. Plus, I have to do some nature's business. I can't just sit here forever in the cold and pinch it if you get my
poor
tip.
Kid.
I drink a lot of coffee in the morning.
Yeah. It wakes you up.
Wakes you up, and then you got to get rid of it later. So, we talked to Jeff earlier. He's going to be the MC today. And we're live on NHCR, The Rock, NHCR.com, GrokTALK.com. Of course, normally we're at the CNHT studios, and we haven't been there all month, but we want you to check out CNHT.org. Listen to us on Spreaker, Stitcher, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Hi, Chad.
Give him your headset. You go to the bathroom.
Oh, well, I could just put him on Skips.
Yeah?
He's working.
Because we can talk. And
he's working.
Oh, is he?
Getting ready. He's got a job to do.
Okay.
He's got to be the MC. Yeah, MC Chittister. She wants me to give you my headset so I can go to the bathroom.
goes, what?
He goes, what? What? We'll just have you sit down, and you can be Skip because he's busy.
Oh, I can be Skip.
Yep. And then Jeff's back because check that out.
Hey, Jane, how you been?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
It's always good to see you.
Yeah, so your husband, Carlos?
You did. My 2 kids are here, too.
Oh, I didn't see them.
Yeah.
That's kind of nice.
Yeah. Bring the family.
That's nice. Oh, that's always nice to see the family.
French fries.
Did your son sing? I haven't heard your. I've heard your daughter sing. She's
my
great.
son has a beautiful voice.
Oh, so.
And he was a boy soprano all his life up until a few months ago, and now he's a basso.
Yeah.
The lowest end of voice.
That's
right?
awesome.
Figure it out.
That's excellent. So what are you talking about now?
Well, let's see. I was a bass in my high school and college choir.
You're now a bass?
I was a baritone.
A baritone. There you go. Baritone, I could tell.
Baritone, definitely. I could do the bass part because they didn't have enough guys to do it when I was in high school.
Yeah.
In college, of course, we had a couple hundred people in the choir.
Yeah.
And it's a college-level choir.
Sure.
So I didn't have to do that as much. But
Caesar High, yeah.
I
was the dog caller in my school. I have a terrible
Turn
singing
pages
voice.
on the
Oh, it's terrible.
You probably don't because you have a nice speaking voice.
I have a good speaking voice, but I have no way of. I do range in talking,
Yes.
so.
But you know what? It's the same in singing. You just have to learn how to. It's a different support, but the range is the same.
I'm good at controlling my diaphragm and stuff like that, but my son has a great singing voice, and my brother does too. So
You probably do. You just haven't done it.
I just haven't practiced.
Yeah.
So I go singing.
All right, well, I'm going to step out for a minute. You just keep talking.
Okay.
What are we talking about? Are we live?
Yes, we are.
Oh, excellent.
I'll be right back.
So we haven't talked to Jane in a while. How you been, Jane?
I know. I've been great. I've been very busy. New Hampshire Right to Life is kicking some butt.
Doing some real great work in the 40 days of.
40 Days of Life is halfway through its campaign.
Yep.
That's not necessarily that's a national campaign.
Right.
But we help. We assist with the campaign. They do
Sure.
a great job. Beth Scare is the gal that runs it in Manchester, and she's got groups every night. Every time that they meet, there's a nice group.
Oh yeah.
And they do a good vigils in front of Planned Parenthood.
So, I mean, I don't know where you guys were. Were you talking about Planned Parenthood and how that's playing out? It was interesting because Colin Van Ostrand has announced that he's running for governor.
Yes.
And his first salvo out was all about Planned Parenthood.
Yes.
And it seems a little disconnected from where most people are on that story.
Well, you know what? He's not because he's ultra left. I mean, he's so left he's banging into himself. The funny thing is he was at the Planned Parenthood. The Planned Parenthood had an event 2 weeks ago in front of the State House in Concord. It was almost like an evil cult thing. It was weird. They had everything dark except for pink lights that lined the walkway, and then in front of the State House steps, and then a black sign that had pink lights saying "Support Planned Parenthood." It was very strange. But we went New Hampshire Right to Life we picketed, peaceful, have our say, and Colin Van Ostrand was in a car, and so I approached him with my friend Rosemary, and I wanted to just talk to him. He had a nice pink shirt on. From now on, I call him Mr. Pink Shirt. Okay? And Rosemary started to talk to him, and he was so rude to her. He brushed her off so much. I have someplace to be. He starts to shut his car door, and she says, well, I'd like to talk to you. And he goes, you know what? I suspect that you and I are on different ends of this, and I have a place to be. I said, okay, so he's not only left, he's rude to boot, right?
Oh, well, he has a pattern of that, too. I mean, that's something, if you look him up online, you'll actually see that he's been a little
Well, you know what? He knows better, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Pink Shirt can tell us all these lies that Planned Parenthood has been telling people for decades. And now people are starting to hear a little bit of the truth. And the left is going crazy.
Oh, they just don't know how to handle it. And it certainly has. And for a lot of people, I mean, for a lot of us too, there are voices within the Republican Party in which we've been trying to say, hey, what are you doing? You don't understand this group. And certainly. Now, how do you think it's going to play in the overall presidential election? Some candidates have been very strong about, where they are. They've been very I think that's the difference too, that we're seeing candidates who feel comfortable with talking about it and also very confident on what they know the facts to be.
Okay, what do you mean? The actual, all the debate about the videos?
The videos, but also, the factor of what Planned Parenthood has been able to really achieve within. I mean, when we look at Planned Parenthood, they needed allies within the government just to make sure,
that their funding
Well, the culpability, right? The culpability. If we're all in this together, then we're all in this together.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think we have a two-tiered opportunity here. The first tier was that it was a great marketing thing that now the right, the people that understand life is valuable at all ends of the spectrum,
correct,
can now use what has come out as a way to educate.
Sure.
Right? And that's huge. It's also politically an easy thing to jump on. What candidate in the Republican Party is going to say that those videos were what it was America was about? Of course they're going to say, terrible thing, how can this happen, right? To me, it comes down to the candidate that will say, okay, stop. Stop the madness. Stop feeding the beast.
Right.
And if we cannot if we can't coalesce a movement to say stop, when we see the debauchery that has come out of these clinics, and mind you, it's not just the baby body parts, we're talking years and years of overselling their product.
Oh, yeah.
Of not showing what's really happening. They're not transparent. They hide everything in Planned Parenthood. So when do we say stop? If a Republican candidate whose platform is supposed to support life cannot come out after this and say stop, then we need to look at those candidates.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Senator Kelly Ayotte made a big mistake in not taking the opportunity to message the importance of what that Planned Parenthood meant for the American public to know.
Right, and that's very unusual because when you look at her stand on parental notification, I mean, she really did buck the internal mechanism inside of New Hampshire, and you wonder what happens when you get down to Washington.
Oh, that's it. She's the establishment's girl. You only have to look at the voting record, right? And this is Jane Cormier, the activist, speaking.
Right.
This is not in any way about New Hampshire Right to Life.
And seeing Senator
Let's
Ted
hear.
Cruz, he has arrived. You folks should finish registering and go back
There we go.
outside if you would like to hear him speak.
All right.
Okay, so Ted has just arrived.
So-
in any case, I think that, when she took it as a political way to make a jibe at Ted Cruz, that he was the crazy right guy that was going to shut government.
Right.
We would have had much more respect and supported her for saying, this is one we should.
Right.
We should stand
Absolutely.
on this.
And take the opportunity and use the messaging. Of course,
Yes.
the Republican Senate Committee doesn't want to spend money on that. The House Republican Committee doesn't want to spend money on that. They have a boatload of money in which they could have gotten ahead of this message, especially when the truth was really starting to come out.
Not kidding.
And also start leveraging what many of us already know. Like you said, how they hide their funding, how they move the funding out, how they calculate, I tell people this all the time, is that, how Planned Parenthood calculates their services. Every phone call is listed as a service.
Yeah.
Every time you walk in and take a pamphlet, it's listed as a service. So when you pad when you pad that service resume,
Numbers.
right,
Yeah.
it's easy for you to come back and say, well, no, we provide this for a service.
Well, first of all, we know that 3% is such a freaking
Oh,
lie.
it's
It hurts,
terrible, yes.
right? Just hurts me. But the truth is when you go in for the abortion, they might give you 5 different services. So you have the abortion,
Exactly.
but you have 5 other services. So they use those 5 to say that, but it was all abortion related.
Exactly.
It's crazy. And why do these people think money isn't fungible? Well, I mean, there are no separate accounts in Planned Parenthood.
Oh, you can't. I mean, the building itself, if they use federal funds to support the lease of the
that's
building,
crazy.
what do you think you're supporting? And they make enough money where, unfortunately, they do make enough money. They make enough money where the government shouldn't be involved in
No.
this. When you look at entities like the New Hampshire Food Bank, okay, there's an organization that feeds multitude of people not on a daily basis, which gets hardly anything from the government of sustainable amount.
Right.
And I think people, if they were presented with a fact of where do you want your money to go if you're going to spend it, those are the places.
And you know what? That is logical.
Yeah.
And that's moral, right? We've lost both.
Oh, we have.
We have to get that back.
We really have. I got to get ready to pop over, so I'm going to
Yeah, I
take
have to go out too.
Thank you, sir.
I have to go out.
All righty. Thank you very much to everybody. I am now sitting here by myself. Listening to the music. This is GrokTALK. And Pete and Jemmy, the tech guys over there, I can see him. A lot of people standing in line, ladies and gentlemen. Big line to get in here. So, it looks like a good turnout. A lot of folks outside. And I think you probably heard Ted Cruz is the first candidate here that I'm aware of, and he's going to be talking outside in a little bit. I still need to go over and sign in so I can actually vote, but I can wait to do that until after this podcast is over. We've got another 25 minutes or so, and maybe we can get Mike over here to sit down and have a little chat with us. Gilbert went off to get me a coffee. It's cold in here. Still cold in here. But it's heating up. Things are getting interesting. So, exciting day here at the Durgan Polling Arena in Hopkinton, New Hampshire, at the Hopkinton State Fairgrounds. You are listening to GrokTALK, brought to you by GraniteGrok.com, and quite often by the Coalition of New Hampshire Taxpayers, but not in October because we're not even there. But hopefully we'll be back in studio in the next week or two. Of course, 2 weeks ago we were out at an event, the Practical Federalism event, if you caught that. We streamed that live, and then last week we spent a couple hours at the Republican Liberty Caucus Biennial Convention. Well, every 2 years they have their convention, and it was in Nashville, New Hampshire this year, National Convention. And we were kind enough to they were kind enough to let us come and cover some of that and talk to some of the folks there. And, of course, this week we're here in Hopkinton at the 603 GPS Caucus. And Mike looks like he's about to plug something in, so who knows what's going to happen when he does that.
No, you'll be okay.
Just don't unplug me, please. Thank you.
I'm not going to.
Good. So we don't want you to forget about all the other things that are going on in the world. Of course, we will be looking forward to having guests on the show to talk about all the issues in the campaigns. Those of us at Granite Rock who are involved with the 603 Alliance will be endorsing the winner of the caucus, whoever it may be. That does not mean that we will not, in an as unbiased a fashion as possible, try to cover every candidate who's available and makes themselves available to us. We're not trying to convince you to vote for who we want to vote for so much as to make sure that you hear what they have to say. That's what Granite Rock is for. Obviously, that's what GrokTALK is for. Obviously, we have very, very strong opinions. We have conservative opinions, and we are going to try to defend those opinions as often as we can. But we want to make sure that everybody has a chance to hear candidates speak and to have them explain their positions with regard to those principles. And we look forward to having as many candidates on as we can, hopefully before more of them drop out, because while they can't all make it all the way to the end of the race, they all have opinions, and they're all interesting, and they're all exciting, and they've stepped out and taken this chance. And we want to give you an opportunity to hear what they have to say. So we're going to look forward to that in the coming weeks and months leading up until the beginning of the primary season, which is in February. The Iowa caucus is probably late in January, early in February. The New Hampshire primary is slated roughly for around February 9th-ish. They haven't really picked the exact day yet because it needs to be at least 7 days. I think it's 7 or 10 days before the next primary, or so many days after the caucus. I forget what the formula is, but it's embedded into New Hampshire law. So before any other primary state holds their event, we have our primary. So one of the discussions that came up in recent weeks was the chairman of the National Republican Party. The RNC mentioned some interest in playing around with the schedule for the primaries, and of course the early states got all uppity about it. There was a lot of I just posted this thing, and the next day I got it off at Drudge, and the next day everybody's talking about it in the state because if it was on Drudge they saw it, and the media picked it up. But there was an interest in fiddling around with that, and of course New Hampshire's very defensive about that. And part of the problem was people are saying, well, it's New Hampshire, it's mostly white. It has a slightly higher level of average income. They don't think that it's representative of America. But then that's why there are all these primaries and all these states, and they all have an opportunity. I personally don't have a problem with them screwing around with the schedule, but that's because, in my opinion, and those of us at Granite Rock, there are a great number of side effects to having a first-in-the-nation primary in New Hampshire that aren't necessarily good. And they pretty much circulate around the relationship with the state party and the national party and the candidates running for federal office. The state party and the money people have a vested interest in getting invited to the best parties and being connected to the best people. And the first-in-the-nation primary, and this is probably on both sides of the Democrats too, really sort of lends itself to the opportunity for them to really feel this obsessive need to be associated with the national party, and the national party, as you know, doesn't always represent the interests of the states. So, it almost sort of warps the relationship here, and you have all these candidates in the state early, and they're here for a very long, long time, a lot longer probably than in any other state. Iowa and New Hampshire see candidates for 6, 8, sometimes 12 months in advance, and they're in the state. And thank you so much, Kim. Ooh, sugar. Yay. That'll work. Thank you. Oh, and it's warm. I can warm my hands. Oh, coffee. All right. Things are moving along. It's 10:40. I'm sitting here all by myself. Oh, you know what I should do? Earlier we talked about the 603 Alliance, the post I put up about equality of opportunity. I'll just take a minute and read that to you so you have a sense of what it was. I mean, I appreciate the fact that everybody thought it was great and it was what we needed to say, but I'm trying to be humble about that. Hang on, I'm going to take a little sip of coffee here to get my voice back. Slurp, slurp. Didn't really help, but it is warm. It's delicious. So here we go. From early on in the planning stages, the 603 Alliance wanted every Republican presidential primary campaign, no matter how big or how small, to hold their own rally outside before the caucus this Saturday, be today. We expended no small amount of time discussing the rules for that, tent sizes, how many tents, could they bring food, and so on. We did work all that out. We invited the campaigns and told them to bring supporters. We offered to let them speak to the voters. We offered to play a pre-recorded message from them to the assembled voters if they couldn't come. The more conservative and libertarian-minded campaigns heard from the 603 Alliance repeatedly with the opportunity for us, basically, as I said earlier, to help organize events for them so that they could speak to voters. Where am I? The more conservative and libertarian-minded campaigns were asked if the Alliance could meet with them. Basically, the committee wanted to sit down and talk to them about policy to determine whether or not we thought they were the kind of candidate, or to make sure they were the kind of candidate that we would be willing to support to cover events and things like that. So it was like an interview to ask questions on policy. We offered to organize events all summer long. They all had the opportunity to let the 603 Alliance help them reach more voters. We offered, call it equality of opportunity. So if you see an email or a Facebook update, and this would have been over the last couple of days, or get a phone call from a supporter or campaign inviting people to attend a rally for so-and-so before the caucus Saturday, that would be from a person or campaign who took the 603 Alliance up on the opportunity. Regardless of how they are polling, they think they can win the caucus, and they want to try to win, and they are rallying support to win. It's a caucus, so it doesn't mean they will win, but they are willing to try. And let us be clear. If you don't see for a candidate or candidates you've been leaning toward, it was their decision, not ours. They decided not to meet with the committee. They decided to ignore the opportunity to have us sponsor their event. They chose not to hold a rally. Why? Performance issues is my best guess. These candidates or their advisors are so certain they can't win the caucus that it is easier to excuse their absence by claiming they could not have won because it was fixed. But regardless of what they decided, there will be voters there from all over the state, a very big crowd based on the pre-sign-ups. And I can tell you that it looks pretty big from where I'm sitting right now. And why not? It is free, the caucus, to every registered New Hampshire voter, Republican or independent, assuming you're an independent voter who has voted in a Republican ballot, has pulled a Republican ballot in the past. If you are a Democrat voting independent, you will not be allowed into this caucus. So you can't buy a victory. You don't pay for access. We've got hundreds of people who signed up in advance and hundreds more expected, whether these voters first or second choice holds a rally or not. And they will be voting their conscience, witness to every vote counted by marshals who can't vote in New Hampshire. And, of course, the media will be here and we're going to live stream it. And yet somehow I am so powerful as a member of the committee, if you didn't know. We handful of unpaid activists are so powerful that we figured out how to fix the outcome. It's not possible. And yet somehow there are those who are convinced that it is. The reality, and I'm going to pick on Rand Paul supporters because they're the people concocting this impossible conspiracy, is that the caucus asks that all participants rally behind the winner of the caucus, and they can't do it. They won't unite behind anyone but Dr. Paul, at least not yet. So if they can't find a way to ensure he wins, it is easier to convince others who might not be in their camp that any other outcome is illegitimate. It's actually a step up. Usually they just say you're too stupid and shouldn't vote if you don't support that certain someone. Insecure? Maybe. Perhaps they just have performance issues. This is not to say they won't storm the caucus at the last minute and try to do what they have long been so good at, flood a voting body with supporters to produce a numerical victory. The poll campaigns of ELD have been very effective at winning. What are they called? Caucus states? Yes. They have been working behind the scenes to promote the caucus form of primary because they are adept at winning those. Projection, anyone? While we're at it, the primaries and the elections are fixed as well, so why bother voting at all, right? If it helps, we would welcome their horde on Saturday under the same conditions as any other bus or busloads of voters. You must be a registered Republican or Independent, a New Hampshire resident, and on the statewide voter checklist. That's it. You can support whomever you like. And if that candidate lacks the necessary support, you're next best, and so on until there is a winner. There can only be one. I have help now. Hi.
You do?
Hi.
We're back.
I still have to go sign in.
Oh, in order to vote, we have to sign in?
Yeah.
This isn't enough?
No, that's not your sign-in.
Oh, crap.
I don't think so, is it?
No, between now and 11:30, you've got to at least. Between now and 11:30, you've got to go to your check-in station.
Put the headset. Kim, put the headset on. Kim, put the headset on.
Come on, we got a shy
Kim,
here.
You've been standing on camera for minutes.
She's not shy what she says with her fingers, but she doesn't want to speak.
Was it pointing at her?
It was. It will. See, now, you've been on camera all this time. When you were standing there.
Number four's not turned up
She's
yet.
on.
Hang on.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
A little bit closer.
Yeah, move them. Yeah.
Like in an airplane.
Yeah.
That's right.
Welcome, Grokster.
Yes, our newest Grokster.
Yeah.
Kim Gilbert.
I know, Kim Gilbert. Thank you very much for showing up.
You're welcome.
Yes, all in orange. You're easy to see. Are you hunting for a candidate in blaze orange?
I'm here in support of the idea of the caucus.
Dang, sorry, I grabbed the nearest cup and it was yours. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
Just wipe the lid.
Yeah, I was just out at the Ted Cruz micro campaign rally, and we'll be putting the video up a little later on.
Because that's the one that's here to see.
Yes. Well, it seemed like there's a lot of people
90% of success is showing up. He showed up. Several other campaigns have showed up, but only Ted Cruz has showed up in person.
That's correct.
Where's Pataki?
I don't know. I'm looking for Jim Gilmore, though.
Yeah, Pataki's in state. So he could show up. There's no reason why he doesn't.
They should be showing up. We've been hopping on that all morning.
They've all been invited.
Pataki's just a name at the bottom of the list. But when you meet him, he's very personable.
Oh, he's awesome.
And he can
he's
win,
great in person.
And he can win converts. And he stands out in the crowd since he's 6'5".
He's a blast to talk to. If you get a chance to go meet him, just go talk to him. He's fun. We had him on the show for like 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
He was in between.
We could have had him on for a half hour easy.
Oh, we
had him on at CNHT.
Right.
Although he kind of got really hinky about religious liberty.
No, that was Jim Gilmore.
Gilmore. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
We didn't have him at CNHT.
Yeah.
So, but Pataki we had on by phone in the studio, and he was great.
We had him physically in the room.
No, physically. That's right.
He was there.
He was the tall guy in the room.
Yes.
And if you're out there, Governor, if your campaign staff are listening to us, you have time to come and round up some supporters at the 603 Alliance Caucus in Kentucky, which is at the Hopkinton Fairgrounds. It's a great chance to show a higher level of support.
And there are already hundreds of people outside. The line was long getting in. I mean, I felt sorry for some of the real senior citizens out there, a couple in wheelchairs. I mean, they're just shivering away, and they're not saying, let's go. They're saying, I want in.
There's a lot of interest in this. I was speaking to a man that just did a freedom, is it called Freedom Flight? What is the flight down for the World War II veterans?
Yes.
He was outside. I was standing next to him, and he was very well bundled up, but he was excited about coming here and seeing what this was about and casting his vote.
Yes. I think it's terrific.
And I think for conservatives, this is a way to fight back against the establishment. Is really what it comes down to. We are tired of having
exactly what this is.
A couple of good conservative candidates rolling in for a race, only to see their votes. Sounds like Jeff is getting ready to go. But we still have a few minutes left here.
Yes, we do.
But basically, seeing a moderate come along and splitting the vote and winning, and we end up with somebody like Kelly Ayotte.
I'd say the Cruz has a huge advantage right now.
Carson's got a big crew over there.
Good. we want huge crowds all around.
This is when I'm glad I bought noise-canceling microphones and headsets.
These are state-of-the-art. These are really fancy.
Yeah.
Well, the really nice ones are much more expensive. The David Clarks that you would see, something like a pilot wearing, those are cool.
Yeah.
Those are way beyond my budget.
Yeah, we're not going to be. We're probably distorting a little. I know it's hard for us to hear each other when everybody's talking and shouting, but we have to make sure that the quality of our broadcast is maintained at all costs.
So,
we're pegging a little
Did
bit.
anybody do a shout out to the Rand Paul group that are a mile away?
We talked about them this morning. As we mentioned with Jeff, and Jeff has absolutely confirmed that if you're supposed to be somewhere and you don't show up, we will talk about you. And
especially when you're that close.
And talk about you again and again and again. And I think it's a shame. Steve had a wonderful post. I think he was reading while the rest of us abandoned him to go get something hot.
I did talk to some other things. Kim was kind enough to go fetch me some coffee.
I got the last coffee for you.
Oh, thank you.
That was it.
Yeah, and I owe you $2 for the hot chocolate.
No. Oh, I thought you'd paid. I'll go back and pay him.
I will go do that. That's not right.
No, I told him you'd already paid because you just left the cup with me.
Yeah, well, I had to run because Ted Cruz folks are ready to do their micro rally, and we taped it. We will put it up a little later on today or tomorrow.
Yeah. So I paid for 2 coffees. I didn't realize you'd not paid for your hot chocolate, but that can be fixed.
Yes, we can fix that. So I will tell you right now, folks, that our show is done in just a couple of minutes.
8 minutes.
It is my intention on standing with Ted Cruz. I know that it's been something I've wanted to say for quite some time, but knowing that I'm part of the 603 Alliance, the co-founder of Granite Rock, I needed to hold back. And I don't have to anymore because here we are covering the 603 Alliance. We're here to vote for somebody, and yes, I want to get up and speak for him, and I will vote for him.
Well, and since I'm non-voting, I can operate the desk and aim the cameras while it's going on.
Absolutely
we're
cool.
Stop the audio stream at 11 o'clock, but we will be live streaming video and audio all day.
Absolutely. We're going to be here till it is done. And
so if you want to know what the answer is to life, the universe, everything, and the winner of the 603 Alliance Caucus, stay right here on Granite Rock because you will hear it first.
Yes, the answer is not 42.
Or Trenton, New Jersey.
And the winning group will have a lot more than 42 people in it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming in. They are.
I'm hearing reports that the parking's overflowing.
Yep. It's easy. Outside, just tons of people. You were outside for a few minutes.
Yeah.
You passed by me and saying, "Oh, I'm going to be by myself." No. Who was it that was running this?
I told you Jeff was running the show.
Yes. We have to say thank you to Jeff Chittister, who was on with us earlier, for sitting here and taking over for us. Not a grokster to be seen. We're all outside.
I was wondering who that was.
Jane was talking to.
Okay.
Technically, we had a grokster here.
Yes. Yes. So
we recovered.
Yeah.
But,
so
that's the first time we've ever done that.
So, what do you think
about the turnout?
I think this event.
I think it's great.
And you're registered to vote.
Of course.
Okay. I'm going to ask, who are you going to vote for?
I'm not going to vote. I'm here in support of the caucus. I'm not going to vote.
You're not going?
That doesn't stop you from joining one of the caucus groups.
Yeah. Who are you looking to, Steve?
I'm not going to say it.
Oh, here we go with that old joke. How do you keep an idiot suspense? He'll tell me later.
I'll tell you later.
That's good.
Here I am, Mo.
Well, I've got a few that I wouldn't mind seeing win. To be perfectly frank, I wouldn't be surprised if Trump scored well. I don't know if he'll win because I don't see how much that they've got much presence yet. Yeah. But I do know that they were making phone calls to rally people to the cause. Carson's lot made a whole heap of phone calls the last few days, and they are here in force. And Fiorina's folks, the Super PAC is here. And they've been making some phone calls, although I don't think they're sending a video. Let me see who else.
It'll be interesting to see if some of the more establishment folks even bother to show up.
Right.
I tend to doubt it.
But
that's too bad.
But Cruz put in the most effort.
Yeah.
If Cruz wins, it won't be through any fixing, because believe me, we've encouraged everyone to show up and participate.
They brought a lot of people.
Having an actual rally here was smart. Rand Paul has a rally only a mile away. He could bring all of those people. It's not 11:30
Although he's going to
yet.
have a really hard time getting them in time.
Yeah, which probably means that we have to go register. So,
right.
Mike, why don't you come here?
She wants you to take that down.
Okay. We will do that.
I'll take that down.
Why?
Come around. He can sit right there. Oh.
Musical chairs.
Musical chairs.
Shall we sing while you move around?
Musical chairs for 3 minutes. Musical chairs for 3
Speaking of establishment candidates, I don't see a sign for Bush.
There is one here somewhere.
Okay,
Everybody
I
has
see.
a sign. Yeah, we have Huckabee and Graham and Santorum and Kasich, and everybody has a sign. Everybody who is currently
It
running.
must be down this way by Christie.
Oh, yeah, I would think.
Okay.
Yeah, because I thought they were alphabetical.
Alphabetical, yes.
So.
Interesting.
Alrighty. We're almost out of time. We're getting close to the end, which is good because it's getting really loud in here.
Well, thank you for having me on for the very first time.
Yeah. All right. You can go. You're free.
Thank you.
We'll let you go. All righty. We're just about done. 2 more minutes or so, and we'll wrap it up, and then I'll go try to sign in. See if I can do that. Okay. All right. Hey, Jorge. How you doing?
Hi again.
People sneaking up behind us.
Are you providing the music?
No.
No, we're not in charge of music.
So we are almost done.
Put it wherever you want. Put it over here.
Oh, that feels good.
Hi. People are coming over and massaging Skip's back.
Well, I've been shivering so much it feels good.
It is. It's starting to warm up in here.
Yeah.
There are a lot of bodies.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know how they're going to sort them for the counting part, though. I mean, everybody's everywhere.
So, well, really what we need to do is you and I got to... How long is the line?
It's pretty long.
Because we got to get registered.
We got to get registered.
So, we're going to ask Cam.
Now, we're all set. The show's over in like 2 minutes.
2 minutes. All right.
We'll be done, and we'll go about our business and let the camera run.
Yeah, and we have to compete now with the band.
Yes.
So
it's not going to be easy, but you
No,
can
it's
hear
not.
us, and we're
No,
still,
it's not
we're
at
still
all.
doing okay. We don't want to get too loud. We'll blow out our listeners. We want to thank everybody for tuning in. Next week, we may be broadcasting from Area 23 in Concord, pub and so on and so forth. We may be in the studio. It's hard to say. I was still waiting on confirmation for that, but I do look forward to getting back in studio.
Yeah. Either way, it'll be much quieter than it is now.
It will be a lot quieter than this.
Yes.
So we look forward to doing that. And we want to really thank everybody for coming out and showing up. If you are planning to come to the caucus, you better get here soon.
I'm sorry?
I said if you're planning on coming to the caucus, you better get here soon.
Yeah, real soon. We've got half an hour to get here and get registered.
So, I don't know. I got to wonder if we're going to be able to start. You got to be in line by 11:30.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're going to be voting at 11:30. So.
Okay, this is mine, right?
Yes. That's yours. I know. I haven't gone yet. I got to go in 2 minutes. You got yours. Yeah. Good for you. My wife can vote in the caucus. She doesn't know who for, but she can vote in the caucus.
Well, the whole point of it being a caucus is it's a process of discovery. If your candidate doesn't come out on top, you get the chance to reconsider who else would be acceptable to you.
That's right.
And so by a process of discovery, you should end up with your first, second, or worst case, maybe third choice as someone that you can see right in front of your very eyes has got a broad base of support and is therefore worthy of promoting through the primary.
Correct. And again,
all right. So if you guys want to run, I'll spin around there and keep an eye on
We
the
have
line.
like 30 seconds left.
So we're just going to finish it off. You got
and
a half hour.
We're going to finish off the audio portion, and then we're going to just let the camera rip and do whatever it does. If you want to talk, you can.
Yeah.
No, at that point we'll let it skip for a while, unless there's something to comment on.
Well, actually, if we can get another glass to sit with you, you guys can just hold the fort down for us while we get registered. You can sit in one of these chairs. All right.
Yeah, you can sit in the big
We can
chair.
do that. Good.
All right. We're winding down, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
So it's the end of the official podcast in a chaotic and busy location.
You want to do the closing? Go ahead. Hurry up.
No, it's the end of the official podcast. We're in a chaotic and busy location where all manner of fun is going to break loose in about a half hour.
All right, we're out of here.
We're located at 8 North Main in Concord, New Hampshire. This is the repository for all things conservative and municipal. So if you have a problem in your town, your school, your budget committee, the right to know law, and now the top of our list is voter fraud. If you have a tip for us, some information for us, you want to join or help us out, cnht.org.